The Jester. You're walking home at night, and the streets are too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you question every sound your ears catch, every shadow that flickers at the edge of your vision. The cold air settles against your skin, and you find yourself glancing over your shoulder, telling yourself you're just being paranoid. But then, there it is. A laugh. Not a warm laugh. Not the kind that comes from joy. This laugh is sharp, mocking, stretched out just long enough to feel unnatural. And when you turn, there's no one there. Just the empty road. Just the dark. That laugh is the first warning, because if you've heard it, you might already be part of the story. They call him the Jester. Some say he's just an internet myth, a twisted creepypasta that grew legs and crawled into the collective imagination of the web. But others, those who claim they've seen him, spoken to him, been followed by him, they'll tell you he's very, very real. The first whispers of the Jester didn't start in books or movies. They started online. Somewhere deep in forums no one admits to visiting, his name began to pop up. A masked figure, half comedy and half tragedy, lurking in the digital shadows. At first, people thought it was a joke, just some edgy troll in costume. But the stories had details too specific, too intimate to be brushed off. Messages would appear in people's inboxes. Sometimes a single line, "Smile for me. I like it when you smile." Other times, "You don't know me yet, but I know you. I know what you wore today. I know where you live, and I know how good you look when you're afraid." The words carried something more than cruelty. They dripped with a strange intimacy, a predator's twisted sense of humor. And for the people who received them, fear turned to obsession. They started checking behind curtains, locking their windows, looking over their shoulders every time they walked outside. Because the Jester wasn't just hiding behind a screen. He was out there, watching. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a woman named Elena. She lived alone in a small apartment, the kind of place where the walls were thin and every creak of the building sounded like footsteps. Elena was careful. She kept her doors locked, her blinds drawn. But one night she got a message. No profile picture, no name, just a username. Harlequin laughs. The message was simple. "Pretty dress today. Red suits you." Elena froze. That day she had worn a red dress, a rare choice for her. She hadn't posted a photo online. She hadn't even told anyone what she was wearing. She deleted the message, convinced it was some sick coincidence. But then another one arrived. "Don't frown. I'll make you laugh before you scream." The words felt like a hand closing around her throat. She reported the account, blocked it. But the messages didn't stop. They multiplied. They came from new accounts. Each one carried a piece of her day she hadn't shared with anyone. And then came the note, slipped under her apartment door in the middle of the night, scrawled in red ink. "Why so serious? Let's play a game." Elena's nights became unbearable. Every sound was him. Every laugh outside was his. She called the police, but with no evidence they could only tell her to stay safe. But how do you stay safe when the predator doesn't want your money, doesn't want your possessions? He just wants your fear? The notes escalated. Scribbled jokes, twisted compliments, and always, always the laughter. Sometimes she'd hear it echoing through the walls at 3 a.m, as if someone were right outside her door. Sometimes, worse, she'd hear it inside the apartment, though no one was there. One night, she woke to find her bathroom mirror fogged as though someone had stood there, breathing. Written in the condensation was a single line. "Smile, Elena." She hadn't used the shower. At that point, Elena stopped sleeping. She stopped eating. She lived only to check her locks, to double-check her windows. The Jester had turned her home into a stage, and she was his unwilling audience. She tried to fight back. She installed cameras, but the feeds would cut to static at night. She left lights on, but bulbs would burn out in clusters, and the laughter always returned. One evening, desperate and trembling, she shouted into the empty apartment, "What do you want from me?" And for the first time, he answered. A voice, not through the walls, not from her phone, from right behind her. Just a laugh. By the time her neighbors found her, Elena was gone. Some say she moved, others say she disappeared entirely. What remained were the notes, dozens of them, each one signed with a crude drawing of a jester's mask. Her story spread across forums, fueling the legend, and soon others came forward. They too had received messages. They too had seen a figure lingering in the dark, always masked, always laughing. But it wasn't just random stories anymore. The jester had become viral. TikTok clips claimed to capture his laugh outside apartment complexes. YouTube videos uploaded grainy footage of someone in a jester mask, hiding in alleyways. Threads debated whether it was one man or a movement, a collective of predators adopting the same persona. And then came the darker whispers, that the jester was tied to the dark web, that people could pay to watch him torment his victims in real time. Some claimed to have found streams where masked figures whispered, mocked, and stalked people for an audience that laughed along with them. Whether those videos were staged or real didn't matter. What mattered was that the legend spread, and with it, the fear. And fear, after all, was the jester's true weapon. But was he real? That's where the theories divide. Some insist he was a stalker, a single man who used a mask and a laugh as his signature, a predator who knew that the police would never take a report about a jester seriously. Others believe he was never one person at all, but many, a collective of predators across the globe who all donned the mask and carried the legend forward. A viral performance of cruelty. Then there are the skeptics. They argue the jester is just a hoax, a modern-day boogeyman cooked up by the internet. They say the notes could have been staged, the laughter recorded, the sightings fabricated, but the most chilling theory, that the jester is an archetype, that he doesn't need to be real. He's the face we give to the predator in the dark, the stranger who mocks your fear, the laugh behind every anonymous message, every shadow that lingers too long. And maybe that's why the story won't die. Because the jester doesn't have to exist. He already does, in the way we check our locks at night, in the way we laugh nervously when we're scared, in the way we dread that message from an unknown number, that sound of footsteps when we're alone. Elena's story may have ended, but the jester's doesn't. Because every time someone tells his story, every time someone listens, he grows stronger. And maybe, right now, as you're hearing this, someone is listening too. Someone who knows your name, someone who knows your street, someone who might just be laughing already. So lock your windows, check your mirrors, and if, late at night, you hear laughter echoing behind you, don't turn around, because some jokes are deadly, and the jester always saves his final laugh for you.